What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. We got another update. We're standing here, maybe you can see in the background, we are on the shores of the pond. It is officially dug, built, whatever you want to call it. And man, it's exciting times. It's been a while in the works. You know, we've gone through different cycles. There's a few other videos on the channel. Maybe we'll link those in the description down below. You can kind of see the process and see what this looked like before it was a big hole. But the pond is officially dug, and I'm excited to show you guys what we did with it. We kind of laid out a few different things, few different contours, pieces of structure. We're going to walk you through the whole process, and we're literally going to walk through the pond. We're going to be down in where the bass are going to be living. It's pretty cool to see this. And this video is as much for me as it is for you guys, because it's going to be pretty cool once this fills up to see this video of me walking on the bottom of the pond where I'm going to be catching fish someday. So it's going to be pretty cool to see the before and after and bring you guys along with the whole process. So if you guys are ready, let's jump in. Let's go check out the pond. Okay, so we're starting at the back of the pond. I guess, we're doing things a little bit backwards. Typically, I don't know, is there a typical way to walk through a pond or a body of water? I don't know. We're starting at the back. This is the spillway. So this will be where the excess water comes out of the pond once she fills all the way up. You know, basically this is a runoff ditch where when it rains, there is a ditch that comes, you know, down the hill, and basically the runoff water just kind of ran through here and it ran back through those trees behind us. So we're basically just borrowing some of that runoff and filling up the pond. But eventually it's going to need a place to continue to go. So that's why we built the spillway here. And that is the spillway right there. It is just some riprap rocks, but that basically is the guidance point for the entire pond. I mean, you had to make the spillway first, or get that point. That's your point of reference, and that's basically where we judged the depths of the rest of the pond off of, was that point right there. Because once that water reaches a certain point, it's going to flow out, so that affects the depth of the rest of the pond. So basically we had to start there and then kind of build the rest of it this way. So pretty cool deal. Let's where should we go? Let's go down in the hole. This is going to be the basin right down here by the spillway. Whew. Can you guys see me from all the way up there? This is about as deep as it's going to get right here. You know, the pictures and videos definitely don't do it as justice, but this is going to be over 10 foot deep right here. It's probably closer to 11. Yeah, we're pretty far down here. It's pretty cool to see, you know, what a bass sees. I just imagine a bass being down here looking at the banks and how he's moving around down here. It's pretty cool to see this vantage point of a body of water. Pretty cool. Yeah, so this was one of the stumps or one of the trees that was in the area where the pond is. We ended up just cutting him off and put the stump down here in this deep zone. I mean, that'll offer a lot of good protection. A lot of this mud will come out, and then there'll be all these little cracks and crevices for, you know, bluegill, baitfish, bass to live in. I mean, there'll be a lot of little pieces of cover right there with that big stump. And then we got a little rock ledge, so it was pretty cool. There was a decent amount of these rocks in this zone that we dug out for the pond. So we placed them all here right on this lip. So basically this is a drop. We're standing in the basin where it's 10 to 11 foot deep right here. And then it kind of rises up to about 6 feet right there. So right on that 4 foot drop, we put all these rocks, kind of just a rock ledge right there. In my mind, that's where some bass are going to be hanging out. Maybe some smallmouth. We may have a few smallmouth in here. I don't know yet on the fish side of things, but that seems like a prime location for them to hang out right there on that little rock ledge. So that's a pretty cool little deal. So let's keep walking, check out the rest of the pond. Okay, so this is essentially what would be the creek channel, I guess, if you will. If there will be a creek channel in this pond, it kind of runs right through here. I put the next stump right in the middle of that. Be some awesome cover right there, and then another stump past there. But you can kind of see the water line if you look past the stump on where, you know, some water has already ran into here. So this is basically the little channel that will run through the pond. Then up on here, this is more where a lot of the rock was. So if you come up here, this is kind of a little shelf or a bar, if you will. And this, we got a marking right here. This point right here is going to be about 3 feet underwater. And it's nice hard bottom. Like I said, there's some rocks mixed in. There's rocks scattered all around in this zone on this kind of 3-foot shelf. And then it actually gets a little bit deeper before the shoreline over here. So like this mark right here is 3.8. So that'll be 3.8, maybe almost 4 feet of water right here before we start sliding up the shoreline to the water level. So the water level is going to be, the water line, should I say, is going to be somewhere right up in this zone on this. So that's going to be a nice little shelf right there. I may put a little brush pile or something up on top of there at some point for some more structure, but it's nice hard bottom over here with those rocks mixed in. So I like it. I feel like this will be a good hangout for some fish. So this little zone isn't quite finished yet. I still got a little work to do right here before the pond fills up. But basically the way the pond lays, there's gonna be a little point right here that kind of wraps around to that pile of rocks, and then it tucks around that tree right there. So basically my idea is this point right here gets a lot of sunshine most of the day. So I wanna stack some rocks like these right on the water line, maybe a little bit in the water. You know, be a nice place the fish could slide up a little bit shallower, get in some rocks, stay warm. So we're gonna kind of line this point as it, you know, I don't know if you guys can see, but it basically starts right here, kind of rounds around this tree right here. So I got this big pile of rocks here, and I'm gonna spread these out nice and neat and kind of round this point, line it with some of these bigger rocks, put some out in the water just a little bit further. And that way we have almost a rounded rock point. I don't know, in my mind, I feel like that'll be good cover, good structure, but we'll let the fish determine where they want to be in this pond. But in my mind, that'd be pretty cool to have a little rock point, especially because it's always in the sun. I mean, it gets a lot of sun on this side, so it'll be a good little spot. So I think the water line will be somewhere right around those rocks. It's really hard to tell right now, based on with this curvature, and you know, kind of comes up right there. So I don't know, this will be ever changing as well. You know, we will adjust as necessary. But let's head down here. This is where you can see we got a little bit of water coming in already. Not nearly enough, but we got a little bit that had backed up from some rain and some snow melt. That we had some snow last week in Tennessee. We did, but got another stump down there, and that, I guess you call it the creek channel. So this is all in that 6-foot range, 6 foot underwater. You know, this zone is gonna be right around that 6 foot deep. Up there where you guys are currently standing in the camera is about 3 feet, 3.5 feet. So just little depth changes all around the place. Now, here's the 2 trees that were in the way of building the pond. They were standing, honestly, somewhere right here where we are, is where they were standing before they started digging. So basically I chopped them off. I cut all the branches off because I didn't want the branches sticking up out of the water and just make it look funny. You know, I want it to be a nice, clean, smooth surface. So cut all the branches off and laid the logs down here. Now, I don't know if those will stay there. You know, they may float once it fills up with water, so we're unsure if that is their final location. But I feel like eventually they will find a home in here. I would love to keep them laying the way they are. You know, this is kind of a open zone over here, and it needs some sort of structure. There's not a whole lot of contour change over here. It's kind of just a flat, maybe 3-foot zone back over here. So we need some sort of structure over here. So I feel like a couple trees laying across there would be awesome to house some fish for sure. All right, let's check out over here. Come on. So this is another zone I still need to do some cleaning up. It was just so wet and had so much runoff coming through that you couldn't really do anything with the dirt. You can see it's actually still pretty muddy. It's dried up a little bit, but it's still pretty soupy here, and especially up this way. But this is essentially the runoff ditch where all of the water is going to be coming for the pond. So I need to clean that up a little bit, maybe dig a little bit more of a ditch to kind of have a you know, more of a funnel into the pond, so it doesn't kind of sit up here like this, but it's just so soupy. I need it to dry up a little bit before we can finish that off. But that's where all the water's coming from. It may be hard to see in the video, but there's a pretty substantial ditch that runs right up there next to the dozer. And that's where a lot of the water will be coming from, along with down the hill this way, and obviously down the hill this way. So there'll be a lot of water funneling down into here. So I'm curious to see how long it takes to fill this bad boy up. All right, let's come over here. We got something special over here. Gets a little muddy, be careful. All right, so this spot right here, this is gonna be a special little place right here. This is gonna be the site of the boat ramp. Yes, we're putting in a boat ramp. I couldn't have a pond like this and not put a boat ramp. You know, I'm probably gonna have to launch the Phoenix in here a time or two, just to, you know, for testing purposes, of course. But that right there, that's gonna be the boat ramp. I'm just gonna put gravel on there, gravel that up, and yeah, I think that's a perfect slope to launch a boat in the pond. You know, it's a pretty big pond, so I think it's measured out to be about an acre. It's just around an acre, maybe a little bit more than an acre. So it's a pretty big pond, and from looking at it from here, I could definitely see fishing this out of a boat. You know, I could definitely see fishing this in my Phoenix. That'd be pretty funny for all the neighbors driving up the road and seeing me fishing in the pond. But yeah, we're gonna have to put the boat in here at some point. I don't know how long that'll be, but we'll definitely bring you guys along for a video when we do that. So that's the site of the boat ramp right there. Other than that, we've pretty much made our way around the entire pond. We got a couple piles of dirt that I still got to move around. That's more topsoil stuff I'm going to use around the house. But this is it. We are standing in Lake Matt. That's what that Mike, the excavator, was calling it. This is Lake Matt, which we'll have to come up with a cool name once we get some fish in here.
I like Lake Matt.
You like Lake Matt?
I like it, yeah.
Yeah, that could be good. So they did an awesome job. Shout out to them. That it is Thacker Contracting. Mike and his brother did an awesome job here. Super impressed. They did it quick too. Like, they moved a lot of dirt in a hurry. I'm impressed with how they got this done. So we are ready for some spring rains now to fill up Lake Matt. So if you guys have ever built a pond or managed a pond before, I'm definitely curious. Need your help. Drop it in the comments below on, you know, some tips and tricks, some structure ideas, you know, when, how to stock the fish. It's all new to me, so I'm learning as I go. So I'm definitely open to suggestions and definitely looking forward to some help in that process. But there she is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. Like I said earlier, hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time.